What's up YouTube? Cunningham Cichlids back with another video. So last video I showed you how important an air pump is to your fish room lifeline. If you're running a bunch of tanks, or even if you have a small number of tanks, you still need to filter them somehow, whether if you're not using a canister or hang on the back. So this video I'm going to show you the water change system, how I filter out the chlorine that I have, or chloramines. I have no chloramines in my city water, but I do have chlorine. So I'm going to show you how I filter those out and how I do my water changes. Alright, so I'll give you some background on the system. So I used to do my water changes, just used to fill up buckets, 44-gallon trash cans with water straight out of my tap. When I went through a process in my city, blew the bacteria out of their tanks, and I ended up losing about 5 tanks of Xeno tilapia fry, my Kalisa breeders, and some other high-end Tanganyikans. So once that happened to me, I decided, okay, it's enough. I did some research and I put in my own water change system. So now I'm strictly just using cold water, and what I do is cold water goes through 2 carbon block filters. There's 1 carbon block, here's a second, and it goes through a 3rd filter, which is a sediment filter. Now ideally you would want to switch these around, have it do the sediment first and then the 2 carbon filters, but I'm not going to change it all around because it would involve changing piping, and it's all glued together. CPVC's all glued, so I'd have to cut it, change it, redo it, so I'm not doing all that. So what I do when I change my carbon filters is I just leave my sediment filter empty, wash the water through, get all the carbon, the black carbon off the filter, and then put the sediment filter in before I start doing water changes. I'm changing these about every 2 months right now. So I'm using these HDX brand. Those are the sediment filters. I do need to order more carbon filters because I'm out, so I need to order those so I can change them. So the filter replacements I order off Amazon. So they seem to be the cheapest, or you can get them at Home Depot. I picked up all the canisters and everything at Home Depot. And then I did all the CPVC piping. So right here's my cold line. It's hot and cold, but that's my cold. So I'm coming down off my cold into a T, and then which the T feeds my my laundry tub, but it comes over here, continues out of the T to my cold, and it comes down. So what I also did is I also put in ball valves. As I showed you in my air system, I put in a bunch of ball valves. I also did that on my water change system. One purpose is this is my on and off. So when I want water to run through the filters, I just open this ball valve up. So when the water goes through the filters, it also goes to a 13 kilowatt electric heater that heats up my water by itself. So I'm not using my home hot water heater because I was using all the hot water. Kids would always complain when I do water changes, they get cold showers and it got to be a pain, and I would also wait for the hot water to heat up before I could continue doing water changes. And at the time I had 100+ tanks, and it got to be a really pain to keep waiting for the water to warm up. So this 13 kilowatt, it's an Emax. It works good for what I have. It is undersized, so when I do an auto water change system that I'm looking at, I will go to a whole house natural gas instant hot water heater, but for now this works. So basically water will go through here, it obviously heats up, it goes through my hose, and I'll show you my filling apparatus at the end. But what I also did is I put a ball valve in here. So with this heater being undersized, in the winter I got to use this ball valve to adjust the flow to get the water to heat up, because water goes through too fast. It doesn't heat up to 77, 78, which is what I put in my tank. So I use this valve. It'll adjust the flow of what it lets in the heater, gives it time to heat up before it comes out the other end. So summer I don't have that problem because the water comes out of the ground warmer, so I just leave it wide open. Then this ball valve I put in if I ever need to disconnect the hose or something, shuts obviously water off through the hose. So if we follow my hose, I have a 100-foot Flexzilla hose that I really like. So if we go down to the end of the hose, I just built a PVC system, PVC adapters basically. I come off the hose as I throw water in the ground, but here's the shutoff. I use the shutoff water when I'm moving this from tank to tank. Here's another ball valve if I need to shut it off for some reason. And this is just 3/4 inch pipe, and it goes to a T so it doesn't blow sand all over the tank. Haven't had a problem with it yet, so it's been working just fine. So we're gonna just stick with that for now. And when I do my instant hot water heater, my whole house water change, I will build something like that. I don't know if I'll keep this in place or what I'll do, or change this up a little bit. So I don't know, but let me know how you guys do your water changes. Do you treat your water before? Do you store it and for 24 hours to remove all the chlorine? Do you heat it up in storage totes, or do you use a python to do your water changes? So let me know in the comments how you guys do your water changes. This is how I do mine. I've been doing this water changes like this since April of last year, when, like I said, I got burned by the city when they blew out their tanks and killed off some of my more sensitive Tanganyikans. So if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe to my channel. Hit the little notification bell so you get notified when I upload videos. And thanks for watching. I appreciate the support.